Hey, where they at? Where they at? Where they at? Where they at? My name is Amir. Thank you for watching my channel, A1 Vita TV. I'm a resident of Sosua Dominican Republic, where I've been living here for 5 years now. I moved here Thanksgiving Day of 2020, and the experience has been rewarding to say the least. Um, I've watched all the greats that we've all watched. I've watched Miko worldwide back in the day. I know the opinions surrounding his reputation is controversial, but I do consider him one of the greats as far as catapulting Sosua's YouTube space to what it has become today. With him was the guy Mayor of Sosua. I remember him. I watched Bo Rakes back in the day. Uh, my guys, I gotta mention my guys who I hold to a personal dear regard. Russell Taylor made dreams. He was very instrumental for many people coming to Sosua, not just Sosua, but the Puerto Plata area in general. Um, Greg, owner of Flip Flop Sports Bar and Grill. And my guy Ronan the Traveler. These are guys who are still instrumental in making Sosua the place that it is today. I've watched all of these guys, and I did not want to have a YouTube channel because I knew that I lacked the expertise and the experience to lend my opinion to a space that seems very simple on the exterior, but it's a lot of dynamics that go along with living abroad, particularly in Sosua, that lie beneath the surface. Um, that's why I waited. And being here, witnessing Operation Atlantico, I've seen a shift to where my perception of Sosua has been tested. And I mirror my perception and my opinions against those greats that I have mentioned, those whom I know personally and have conversations with. And I think that my thinking is in the proper alignment. You'll be the judge. If you disagree, leave everything in the comment section. Um, the current status of Sosua has led to many online arguments and debates, particularly following July 2025 with Operation Atlantico here. I think that a lot of the opinions that have been lent online have caused a lot of friction. Some of the opinions are more than justified. Others, they have this propaganda. They have like an ulterior motive or a created hidden narrative that they're pushing to make either one side look bad and the other side look good, or for their own personal reasons or personal biases. Um, the debates have gone on to, I think, center around the topic of whether or not Sosua is dead. And during these debates, I noticed a lot of arrogance and ego coming into play where it doesn't necessarily have to be that. Um, is Sosua dead? In my opinion, no. The streets of Sosua are fine. I actually enjoy, if you want to call this a version of Sosua, I will accept that. Like I said, I don't engage in the mundane chit chatter. Um, but I think the streets of Sosua are fine. If you drive around, that buzz that we once loved with the old Sosua, it's still here. Everything that we know and love, without being specific, it's still here. There's just been a few changes. And the changes that I see, I equate to maybe if you have a home and you decide, I'm tired of how this room look, let me rearrange it a little bit. Let me move this chair from this side of the bed to this side of the bed, or let me remove this love seat from this portion of the wall to that portion of the wall. I'll buy some new picture frames from Walmart or order them online from a home decor business, and I might change the color of the welcome mat. It's the same house. It just looks a little bit different. You just rearrange some things. It still has the same foundation, still has the same numerical address, it still has the same owner, it's still going to generate the same amount of property taxes because of the value, but the intricacies have changed a little bit. And I think that a lot of what is being pushed about the Sosua changes are being pushed by people who are not here, or is being pushed by people who have been here a limited number of times, or people who've had their heart broken here in Sosua, or that have been let down by Sosua for whatever reason. Seems like their voices are the loudest. Because one thing that I noticed, I went back home to America in St. Louis for a few months this year in 2025, and I noticed I watched more YouTube then, particularly videos of Sosua, than I've ever watched in my life. And the reason I watched those videos, you all, is because I miss Sosua. It's like, dang, I didn't feel connected to it because of the distance, the water separated us, or the time. I don't know, it was something. I was just watching the videos. I needed to feel connected to Sosua. So therefore, with that being said, I get why the guys who have limited amount of experience here have so many opinions, because you're watching and you're wondering and you're debating from what you know from your last trip, and you're investing that opinion into a space that's creating a dialogue of conflict and argument. But there's a great lure to Sosua that none of us can deny. I've had buddies that travel to Africa. I have buddies that travel to Colombia. I have good buddies that have moved to Thailand. But none of those countries generate the amount of online traction, particularly on YouTube, as Sosua. And my question becomes why? What is the lure of Sosua? What is the lure of Sosua? To me, there are three lures of Sosua that contribute to this online, you got to take a break from it sometimes. But number one, the creep cams. The creep cams. When the Operation Atlantico began, I was one arguing, based off of what the government was saying, that the creep cams were not a part of the shifts, the changes, the police presence, the raids. But in the aftermath, it seems that the creep cams played a major part, because the perception that the country wanted to have was in opposition of what the creep cameras exposed. And I think that the arguments online are a result of the creep cams. You got the demographic of brothers saying, Sosua's dead, Sosua's dead. I saw one comment online in a popular Facebook group that, oh man, Sosua dead because all I see is mid chicks on the creep cam videos. I don't even see no chicks no more. So for us that are here to hear that, it's not even comical, it's disappointing, because my thinking is, because you're not here and you don't see the chicks on the creep cam, Sosua's dead. So that's the amount of weight that the creep cameras have influenced on what people believe about Sosua. What are my opinions of the creep cams? I have a split opinion about it. I'm gonna tell you why. Like I said, a few months ago, all I did was watch the creep cams. My mood was affected by what I saw or didn't see on the creep cams. If I had to pick one, I would say I'm in support of the creep cams, because I know for a fact that those creep cams have promoted Sosua in a way that has generated this to a large degree. It's given people in America something to look forward to. I know for a fact that guys are watching the creep cams who frequent here maybe 3 or 4 times a year to see if they see their special someone walking on the beach, strolling in front of rumbas, well, back in the day, in the popular spots. I won't name any names. You all know the spots. I don't want to bring any more heat on the city that has already been brought. So that's why a lot of guys watch the creep cam videos. And the other reason why a lot of people watch the creep cam videos is because the creep cameras are very skilled at camming the baddies. Not all. And that's where their skill comes from. To be skilled, you can't just cam the baddies, because what I might think is bad, you may think is ugly. What you may think is bad, I may not want to watch. But they do a good job at capturing and encompassing most of what goes on in Sosua, in the popular spots that I'm not going to name. So for that reason, those reasons, I think the creep cameras are beneficial. It allows those of us who are in America who want to feel connected to Sosua to feel connected to Sosua, and it promotes the guys and encourages and influences our next travel, our next trip. People are booking flights based on those videos. You all know when you're telling your buddy about Sosua or Colombia, you're sending videos so that they can get a visual with what you're saying out of your mouth, right? That's promotion. That is promotion. And I think that promotion that generates income or stimulates an economy is good. The bad side of it is this. The negativity can be captured on the creep cams. And those who have hidden agendas that I mentioned a little bit earlier, they can use what's on those creep cams to create that false narrative and blame one demographic of people for being the reason for a change that needs to be made, or a law that needs to be implemented, or the overall raise in itself. That portion of it I don't like, because those cams, that footage can be used against people for a hidden propaganda or agenda. That's why I don't like it. But the creep cameras are my first reason why there's a great lure to Sosua. Number two, it plays into why the creep cameras are so effective. My number two lure of Sosua is the toxicity in the current climate of America, particularly for men. We can't catch a break. Our very essence of masculinity is challenged and opposed from every different area of activity in America, whether it's religion, whether it's dating, whether it's career, entertainment. Masculinity is under great attack. And there are no greater champions of that attack than the females that we would like to date. So if you have standards of behavior that you would not like for your mate or potential mate to demonstrate in her behavior, you're called narcissists now. That's a word that's being abused by narcissists themselves. If you are a fan and you are heterosexual and you speak out against it, or you're uncomfortable with homosexuality, you're called homophobic. These are things that are the catalyst, the original driving force to make men want to travel. I think if masculinity wasn't so under attack and femininity was, real femininity, not the toxic femininity, because there is a such thing, but I think if the real femininity was embraced, which is what a lot of guys experience as a rude awakening when they land here, I think that men wouldn't travel as much. I think that more guys would be in the arena of dating in their home countries as opposed to flying overseas, where the value of men is higher and more greatly appreciated. So that toxicity that exists within America, I think, is a great big reason why there's such a lure to Sosua. Let me know if I'm wrong. The third, the third reason I think there's such a great lure to Sosua is that Latin affection. Number three, that plays into the other two. That Latin affection is intoxicating, man. Whew, it's intoxicating. When you are deprived of something, let's say you're a child and you have a semi-abusive upbringing from your parents in your household, and you move to a home where the grass is green, it's properly manicured, it's lined up with the weed eater, the house has fresh air, the refrigerator's fully stocked, the parents are always home. What do you need for this? Do you need a new bike? Do you need some new lunch? Your friends are positive, your neighborhood is safe. Man, when you come from the opposite of that and you get those elements added to your life, that dynamic can be intoxicating. And that's what guys are experiencing with the women that they encounter in these foreign countries, particularly Sosua. Is it real? That's a whole nother video, a whole nother debate. Is it real? I think for a lot of guys it is. That's why we're so stuck on it. And the reason why it is real to us, because we're so deprived, that's number two again, in our home countries. It seems like the women know exactly what to say, what buttons to push. Literally, you know how they do, poppy, poppy, baby. They all over your chest and all of that. They know exactly what buttons to push. Do we respond properly? That question lends itself to another popular debate that I'm gonna say for another video, which is the expat versus the vacationer perspective. It's a great divide on that. I left off a name from my earlier comments about the guys that I give props to who break down Sosua to a science. I have to give a guy that I spoke with a few months back in Rumbas his props, TMI Santiago. He breaks these countries and the thoughts and the mindset and motives of the women down to a complete science, where you're like, damn, boy, never thought about it like that. And this is where the question that I pose, do we respond properly, comes into play. Because it depends on the mindset and the agenda of that woman. Is her goal to extract from your life only, because they all gonna take one way or the other, brother? I don't care where you are, all of them gonna take one way or the other. Or is her goal to add benefit to your life and extract without doing damage? So how we respond to the Latin affection is based on that woman. And guys, this is my opinion. And this is why I waited to do any YouTube videos or give any commentary. It's because it took me time, man. I had to take the time to peep game. I had to keep my mouth shut, my eyes and my ears open. And I listened to people like Greg, and I listened to people like Russell, and I listened to people like TMI, and I chop it up and listen to people like Ronan. And once you start learning and watching and observing and peeping game on the people that you want to add to your life, it gives you a better angle, for lack of a better word, of attack. Because in many instances what we learned in America, love is war. And how you start is how you probably gonna finish. So if you start out as that gringo that is there for their financial availability, that's how you gonna finish, and that's what's gonna cause you to finish. But I've learned with the Latin affection, there's one word that can make your experience with that affection real. But a lot of guys coming from the deprivation we come from in America, we can't use this one word. A lot of you are probably already figured it out. One word that would change your experience and garner you greater respect when you travel. Just one word. No. No. Look them right in the face. You can say I'm sorry or lo siento, but when you say the words no, be direct, be firm. Don't be uncertain. No. That will prove to you whether or not that female is only out for a quick extraction of your value or if she wants to add to your value. The Latin affection. So the three things that, in my opinion, are the great lures of Sosua. The great lures of Sosua. Number one, the creep cameras. Number two, the toxicity of America. And number three, that Latin affection. A later video, I'm going to cover some of the other things that keep guys like us who have moved here permanently loving it here. And it has very little, if I'm being honest, this is where the great debate of the expats versus the tourists or vacationers come in. Those of us who are here permanently, we have found things outside of those three things that keep us here. And check out my next video because I'm going to go into that. Thank you again. My name is Amir. You're watching A1 Vita TV. And I say always keep it humble. It'll get you a lot further. Peace.